The Last Sunset. Are you ready to go on a journey of self-reflection, beauty, and peace? Join Midnight Murmurs as we explore the compelling story of a retired sailor and his beloved dog's farewell expedition to view the most stunning sunset at sea. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more calming and thought-provoking stuff. Chapter 1: Setting Sail. The retired sailor, whose name was William, had spent his whole life at sea. The seawater rushed through his veins, and the sound of the waves breaking on the hull of his ship was music to his ears. Yet, as he got older, William recognized that his days at sea were numbered. Thus, he resolved to embark on one more excursion to enjoy the splendor of one last sunset at sea. He picked a small sailing boat, just big enough for him and his devoted dog, Jack, and headed off into the great expanse of the ocean. When William set sail, the breeze gently pulled his boat ahead, and he couldn't help but experience a sense of calm and tranquility. The sun was just beginning to set, throwing a warm warmth across the ocean. Jack laid at his feet, his head resting on William's thigh, and William couldn't help but grin at the comfort of his trusty buddy. As he sailed further away from shore, William's thoughts drifted to his life and the decisions he had made. He reflected about the errors he had made, the people he had loved and lost, and the adventures he had encountered. He felt grateful for the life he had lived, but couldn't help but feel a feeling of remorse for the things he had left undone. The ocean spread out before him, a seemingly limitless expanse of blue. William knew that there would be trials ahead, storms to weather and marine monsters to meet, but he was ready for whatever was ahead. With Jack at his side and the wind at his back, William set sail into the unknown, ready to face his final adventure with elegance and courage. Chapter 2: Memories at Sea. As the sailor sails, he is confronted with recollections of his past. Memories of people and places he loved, recollections of experiences that formed him into the man he is today. Remembrance of his errors. He thinks about his first love, a woman he met in a little port town many years ago. They were young and stupid, full of hope and aspirations. They spoke of sailing the world together, but it was not meant to be. She left him for another guy, and he never saw her again. He remembers the day he sailed through a tremendous storm, and he felt he would not live. But he did, and it made him stronger. He thinks of the companions he lost at sea, and how he wishes he could have rescued them. When the sun sets on another day at sea, he understands that his memories are part of him. These are what make him who he is, and he would not swap them for anything in the world. He recognizes that he has made errors, but he has also learnt from them. He thinks of his loyal dog, who has been at his side through thick and thin. The dog has never judged him, never asked for anything in return. The dog has been a continuous friend, a source of comfort and affection. The sailor shuts his eyes and breathes in the salty air. He senses the beat of the waves, and he knows that he is where he belongs. He is at peace with his memories, and he is glad for the life he has led. He is ready to confront whatever problems the sea may offer, knowing that he has the power and fortitude to conquer them. The recollections of his past have made him who he is now, and he would not have it any other way. As he sails into the night, he knows that he will continue to dwell on his life, and the people he has loved and lost. Yet for now, he is glad to simply be surrounded by the beauty of the sea and the memories of his past. Chapter 3: Confronting Challenges. The sailor was no stranger to the hardships of the sea, having spent a career battling its fickle and unpredictable character. Yet when he went on this final voyage, he realized that his body was not as tough as it previously was. The once strong and quick sailor was now older and slower, and the water seemed to sense this. As he sailed on, he experienced storms that challenged his resolve and threatened to capsize his boat. He struggled through them with all the effort he could summon, but he realized that his time was running out. He was no longer the youthful and brave sailor he once was, and he had to confront the fact of his own death. In addition to the storms, the sailor also endured encounters with marine monsters that made him feel tiny and defenseless. The enormous expanse of the water reminded him of the insignificance of his own existence in the big scheme of things. He was merely a little speck in a huge and merciless cosmos, and he knew that his time on this globe was short. Despite these hurdles, the sailor remained cool and resolute. He knew that he had lived a complete life, and that he had experienced all the beauty and magic that the world had to offer. He had loved and been loved in return, and he had no regrets. As he sailed on, he took peace in the knowledge that he had lived a life well lived, and that the obstacles he experienced were only another part of the voyage. He embraced his mortality with grace and humility, and found serenity in the knowing that he would soon watch one more sunset at sea. Chapter 4: Reflections on Life. The sailor sat alone on the deck of his boat, lost in meditation. The sun was sinking in the horizon, coloring the sky with vivid colors of orange and pink. He stared as the hues gradually disappeared, replaced by a chilly blackness that was both comforting and menacing. When the sailor thought on his life, memories filled his head like waves breaking across the shore. He reflected about the decisions he had made, the people he had loved, and the times he had lost. He pondered if he had lived his life to the fullest, if he had genuinely made a difference in the world. Yet as he peered out over the infinite sea, he understood that life was much like the ocean, unexpected, enigmatic, and wonderful. It was a force to be reckoned with, and he had done his best to manage its waves and currents. He worried about the legacy he would leave behind, and wondered if he had left a lasting impression on the world. But then he understood that his actual legacy was the memories he had built with people he loved. The experiences he had enjoyed with his family and friends were the actual jewels of his life. As he sat in tranquility, listening to the soothing lapping of the waves against his boat, he felt a sensation of serenity sweep over him. He had lived a long life, and he had enjoyed the beauty of nature in all its forms. The memories he had built would live on long after he was gone, and that was all that truly mattered. The sailor closed his eyes and took in the salty sea air, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. He knew that his time was coming to a close, but he was pleased in the knowledge that he had lived a wonderful life. When the last rays of sunshine slipped behind the horizon, he smiled, knowing that he had experienced one more moment of perfect beauty. Chapter 5: The Last Sunset. The sailor and his trusty dog had been sailing for what felt like an eternity. The sailor had endured many trials and storms along the road, but he had never lost his optimism or his resolve to keep on. When he saw the sun begin to set, he realized that his time was getting near. The sky was painted in tones of pink and orange, and the sea was peaceful and silent. The sailor sat on the deck of his boat, with his dog at his side, and watched as the sun slowly fell beyond the horizon. That was the most gorgeous sunset he had ever seen, and it filled him with a sense of serenity and satisfaction. When he saw the final rays of the sun depart, the sailor realized that his time had arrived. He closed his eyes and took a big breath, appreciating the salty sea air. He felt the warmth of the sun on his face, and he realized that he had lived a full life. In that instant, the sailor let go of all of his regrets and his concerns. He thought about the people he had loved and lost, and he felt glad for the time he had spent with them. He reflected about the faults he had committed, and he forgave himself. With a smile on his face, the sailor breathed his last breath. His dog settled down alongside him, and together they watched as the final glimmer of the sunset faded into night. That was a moment of perfect beauty, a moment that the sailor will never forget. The water was peaceful, and the only noises were the gentle lapping of the waves against the boat and the soft breathing of the dog. The sailor had died awake calmly, secure in the knowledge that he had lived a full life and enjoyed one last moment of perfect beauty. As the dog laid alongside him, the stars twinkled overhead, and the water spread out before them, infinite and timeless. Thanks for watching Midnight Murmurs. I hope you enjoyed this story about the retired sailor and his trusty dog's farewell adventure at sea. Remember to subscribe and press the notification bell to stay informed on all our newest content. And as usual, feel free to leave a comment below with your opinions and recommendations for future articles. Thanks again for checking into Midnight Murmurs.